Lavar Ball, father of Lonzo, LiAngelo, and LaMelo Ball. The man who's been making headlines every week, if not every day, for the past month. Today we'll be talking about Lavar Ball and why I think that the things that he's been saying could have an impact on his kids' careers. Now, as you probably noticed, my voice does sound a little weird. I have been sick lately, and that's why I haven't uploaded recently. I'm sorry about that, but I have been getting better, and I hope to keep my consistent uploads in the future. So, apologize for not uploading. Let's get right into the video. So, like I said before, Lavar Ball has been making headlines for the crazy things that he's been saying and the absolute confidence that he displays for his sons and himself. So, let's go over some of the things that he said. Lonzo Ball is better than Steph Curry. This is the first thing that kind of caught people's attention, and this is the first instance in which he made headlines when he said that if you put Lonzo on the Warriors, they would be instant champions, and if you put Steph Curry on UCLA, then they wouldn't be doing as good as they are right now. Now, I obviously disagree with this statement. I mean, I don't get how you can not disagree with this statement. It's absolutely ridiculous. But moving on, he also said that he could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. The GOAT, Michael Jordan, he said he could beat him one-on-one. Now that's ridiculous too. He also started some beef with Charles Barkley and said that he could beat Charles Barkley as well. The next thing that he said that caught headlines was that LeBron James' son won't be as successful as Lonzo, LiAngelo, or LaMelo because of the huge expectations that he has to live up to. Now, out of all his statements, this one was probably the closest thing to true because NBA players' sons do definitely have way more expectations on their shoulders than just a regular dude's sons. So this was probably the most realistic statement that he made. But the reason that this captured headlines was because LeBron James responded back by saying that he needed to keep his family name out of his mouth, and that if he wanted to talk, he needed to talk man to man, not about his kids. So that's the reason that this one made headlines. Another thing that he said was that his boys would only sign with a company for $1 billion straight up. Absolutely ridiculous. LeBron James doesn't even make that kind of money from Nike. I think he has a ton of money, but it's not $1 billion. So, and $1 billion straight up too. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And then the most recent thing that he said, and the thing that I think could have the biggest impact, is that Lonzo is better than Magic Johnson and will have a better career than Magic Johnson. So now, after looking at all the crazy things that Lavar Ball has said, let's look at the possible consequences of his words. So his kids could be busts, and he could look like an idiot. This is the first possible consequence. Now, after talking all this talk and putting all his confidence in his sons, what if they aren't as good as Steph Curry? What if they aren't as good as Magic Johnson? What if they aren't even star players? What if they're just role players? Or even, what if they're not good players at all? So this is a possible bad thing that could happen. Another thing is a bad reputation among NBA owners, among NBA players, among NBA teams. A bad reputation for his kids and himself because of the things that he has said. Now, even though most players recognize that it is Lonzo's dad and Lonzo isn't his dad, a lot of people probably don't like hearing their name and don't like hearing that some college player is better than him when he hasn't even stepped foot in the NBA. So this could create problems for his kids in the future. Another thing is overpowering expectations. Lavar Ball has created huge expectations for his kids by saying that they're better than all of these NBA legends, by saying that they're the best players in his opinion, by saying all of these things, that they would only sign for $1 billion, what you name it. He's created massive expectations. Another thing is that there is too much hype around these players. Now, I love Lonzo Ball. Don't get me wrong. He's a great player. Very exciting to watch. But there is so much hype surrounding Lonzo, LiAngelo, LaMelo, especially Lonzo and LaMelo. And when hype happens, often the results are disappointing because you have so much expectations, and this kind of goes back to overpowering expectations. But when there's a ton of hype, there's a ton of expectations, and the hype could just be too much. Another one that kind of goes back to a bad reputation is ruined relationships. Because of the things that LeVar Ball has said concerning NBA players and concerning what his boys will do and not, he could ruin future relationships with companies, sports companies, NBA players. And the reason I say that it could ruin relationships is because if you have a guy who's saying all this stuff about you, you really don't want to hear that. And even though I'm sure it is just words, nobody wants to hear that some college player is better than like that's just ridiculous. And another thing is it could eventually ruin his relationship with his sons. Now maybe they don't completely ignore each other, but it kind of seems like LeVar Ball is doing all of these things for himself. He's not doing it for his sons. It seems like he's just trying to get attention. He's not doing it for his sons. He even said on First Take that he could beat Lonzo one-on-one. Like, he's talking trash to his own kid. Like, some of the stuff he says is so ridiculous. And I think that he could ruin relationships with a lot of good people, good NBA players, good companies, because of the things that he said, and if he keeps on saying them. Now, the last possible consequence that we're going to talk about, and one of the less important ones in my opinion, is distractions. His words could distract his kids, and it hasn't shown so far. Lonzo has been very poised, and I like how Lonzo has handled it. He hasn't really been a big mouth like his dad, and he hasn't really affected his game either. So, looking at all of these things, LeVar Ball must be stopped, because even though it hasn't proven to be damaging so far, I definitely think it could be in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please excuse my voice. I'm still pretty sick, but do expect more content in the future. Please like this video and subscribe for more content. Your support goes a long way, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks.